Today we are going to read Chapter 9, A Bad Report to Mr. Seseman, from the book Heidi, written by Joanna Speary. A few days later, Mr. Seseman arrived at the house. The first thing he did when he got inside was to go and find Clara. He hugged his little girl and told her how much he had missed her. Then he turned to Heidi, who was standing beside Clara, and shook her hand. He asked Heidi if she and Clara got along well. Heidi nodded her head and said that Clara was a good friend. Mr. Seseman smiled and told the girls that he would eat dinner and join them later on. He went along to the dining room where Miss Rottenmeier was making sure that everything was in order. When he sat down, the housekeeper lost no time telling him about what had happened in the last few days. She went on to tell him that she thought Heidi was a disgraceful child. But Mr. Seseman knew Miss Rottenmeier quite well and paid little attention to her complaints. Finally, she told him that she did not think that Heidi was right in the head. Mr. Seseman had not taken her earlier complaints seriously, but this was another matter. If it was true, Clara could come to some harm. Since he didn't really trust Miss Rottenmeier's judgment, he decided to talk to Heidi himself. Mr. Seseman finished his meal quickly and excused himself. He then went into the study to have a talk first with Clara. Since Heidi was there with Clara, he thought for a moment. It would be difficult to ask Clara about her friend while she was still in the room. So, Mr. Seseman asked Heidi to bring him a glass of water. Fresh water? Asked Heidi. Oh, yes, fresh water, he answered. After Heidi left the room, he pulled his chair closer to his daughter and stroked her hand. Then, in a kind voice, he asked Clara to tell him all about the animals, the street musician, and Heidi's strange behavior. Clara explained everything. When she was finished, her father laughed heartily. Well, well, then you don't want me to send her home. You're not tired of her. No, no, Papa, she exclaimed. Since Heidi's been here, all sorts of wonderful things have happened. It's really fun having her here. She tells me wonderful stories about her life on the mountain and her grandfather. Just then, in walked Heidi. She had walked all the way to the village fountain in order to get Mr. Seseman a glass of really fresh water. Heidi told Clara and her father of the kind man she met who asked her who she was and why she was carrying water back to the house. The man had a nice smile, wore a thick gold chain, and carried a walking stick. Clara immediately recognized him as her doctor. Mr. Seseman smiled at the thought of what his old friend would have to say about this unusual search for water to quench his thirst. That evening, he informed Miss Rottenmeier that Heidi was to stay. He said he found her perfectly normal, and he thought she would be a suitable friend for Clara. He also added that she should be treated with kindness at all times. Then he informed everyone that his mother, Clara's grandmother, would be coming to visit after he left on his business trip. The end. Hope you enjoyed the story, and we'll be back with Chapter 10, Grandma's Visit. Until then, take care.